Are you ready?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Here we go.
Uh, got our boy Jason on with us today.
Good morning, Mike Carson. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm not used to seeing somebody with a short beard next to me.
Yeah.
TK's always got his beard going, always doing this,
I'm always doing this.
with his beard.
I like doing this.
You got a lot less hair than TK.
Yes. Yeah. My wife likes doing this too, I started balding at 23. Like I was getting that little halo thing back here, and then I
Yeah.
started getting the island up here, and I'm like, no. I did fundraisers for St. Baldrick's Foundation for a few years in a row. And St. Baldrick's is a great organization where you raise money for kids with cancer. And so for me, I would do it once a year, raise money, and then you have a shaving your head party and just buzz it. And like one year it stuck. I'm like, I kind of like this. So I just kept it going.
Well, you got a motorcycle, so it kind of fits with that whole motif, with the Harley riding.
Yeah, well, I'm a Goldwinger though, so
Oh, Goldwinger.
I've had 3 Goldwings, and it's funny because I had an 82, a 92, and I currently have a 2002. So maybe one day I'll get a 2012. Kind of goes every decade, it seems like. But no, we love riding.
Goldwing's like the Cush bike. It's like,
I call it my couch potato, or my couch rocket. My couch rocket, not my crotch rocket, my couch rocket.
Yeah.
We've been to 1 motorcycle rally this year. We've got 4 more to go to this year, and it is a great time for us. So Shane and I usually just jump in the RV and load the motorcycle up behind it, and we usually stay on the grounds wherever we're going, so we can just have a good time and fellowship and hang out. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a good time.
Let's say hi to some people. We got Adam Schwiegel. Good morning, Adam.
Howdy.
How you doing? Dr. Dan in the house.
Dr. Dan.
They're the only 2 that wanted to comment so far. So
there you go.
We got.
What do you like to do for fun?
Got a few lurkers. What do I like to do?
Yeah.
I like jumping in my Camaro. I got a convertible SS2 Camaro and love it.
What year?
It's a 14.
Has it got was it 6.4 liter in it?
6.2.
6.2? Yeah, that's
got that bad boy up to 502 horsepower too.
There you go. Have you done some extra stuff to it, or is that all factory?
No, it's 426 out of the gate, and then I had a tune done to it, headers and exhaust.
It's funny. Shayna's got a 2017 Mustang, and it's got the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder. It's the turbo. And it's 310 horse right out of the factory.
I know. My son, after I bought my car, my son went out and he bought a 2016 Mustang convertible.
Yeah.
With the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, you got to put it in sport mode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I did, and I'm like, it wakes the car up. And I was impressed for a 4-banger. I was impressed.
Yeah. I had a 2010 Ford. I had the 5.4 Triton V8, and it was 310 horse right out of the factory too. And I'm sitting here thinking, so much difference between the 2.
Oh yeah, a lot of difference. So what do you say we open up in a prayer real quick, and then we'll get into it.
Sounds great.
We'll talk about whatever's on our mind, whatever we're thinking.
And whatever we're thinking.
You want to pray us up, or you want me to?
Sure, that's fine. God, I just thank you for today, and no matter what the weather is, whether it's raining and 70 or whether it's sunny and 80, just thank you for this day. And God, I thank you for the what didn't happen. And I say that with a heavy heart in some aspects, just because of some thoughts that's been on my mind lately. But I really do. I thank you for what didn't happen, what you didn't allow to happen in our lives, because sometimes it can just take us on a whole different life aspect and really wake us up in some aspects when we realize what didn't happen. So thank you again for today. And just for those who are on here, just let our conversation reflect you and reflect your love for us. And just again, thank you for today. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
What a good perspective on that prayer.
Yeah.
Thanking God for what didn't happen.
Yeah.
What
I
he
was
did.
I was mowing yesterday and there was a song that came on and literally it said that it's stuck in my head. Thank you for the what didn't happen. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's definitely a different way to think about that, right?
It is a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
We got a stalker here. We got your wife saying good morning. Good morning, Shayna.
Yep.
She could have just walked in the other room there and done this.
Well, depends if she's out in the office or if she's in a reading room. So yeah, I'm coming to you live from Mo Studios. So this is an actual room that we took and created into a studio. So we can do our podcast and training videos and stuff. I actually got it set up for several different ways here. I got a green screen, black backdrop, the backdrop you see behind me, or a gray one, depending on what kind of videos we're doing. But yeah,
So
that's one thing.
tell us about your podcast.
Oh,
What do
so
you let's go
yeah.
ahead and just do a shameless plug right now.
Wah, wah, wah. Currently it's called What's on Your Mind with Jason. I've been actually thinking about toying around with changing it to My Office Mind with Jason because a lot of things we do is we talk about the things that can affect your business. We've had Ed with Workies on, we've had Reggie with Encompass on, and we just talk about different aspects of your office and your business and just things that can help with that or things that have hindered maybe your business from growing. But yeah, it's been kind of fun. We've only done a couple things. I've got one scheduled for next Wednesday, the 24th. Um, haven't got it nailed down who I'm going to have yet. I've got a couple different people in mind, but yeah, we try to do at least once a month on that. So yeah, fun stuff.
That's
Thank you
cool.
for the plug.
I've been thinking about starting my own with my business as well and just getting it off the ground. And it's like one of those things like you can do it. You just
Yeah,
got to do it.
yeah, I mean, you're already kinda doing it with this, so
Yeah, exactly. So it's like no different, but it's different when when you don't have a co-host lined up or
you're in
something like that. It's
charge.
always easier to talk to someone else than it is to talk to a screen.
Well, the other thing is just doing training videos, the very first one we did, I did on disc assessments, just learning how to communicate, and we talked about communication, through
Mhm.
using disc assessment, and so it was me, and I think we had around 11 or so people on that one, and that was just the video that we recorded. We didn't live stream that one, but it's one that I've got to get out there on YouTube because it was really good. And we actually use that video now in our training. So with new hires, when they come on, I think it's day one or day two, they're watching that video about disc assessments and just learning how to communicate with their new coworkers.
Yeah, it's always good. Use things like that for onboarding. Yeah,
For
I
sure.
do a lot of that same type of stuff whenever I do a training with one of my guys or girls that becomes part of the onboarding process
Yeah.
wherever it fits.
Yeah.
So our we didn't really have a topic today. We were trying to think of something, but all our thoughts escaped us.
Yeah. So, Shayna popped on here and, the prayer was, I thank God for the what didn't happen. Well, with her, I'm going to get a little mushy and say, I thank God that she did happen. So we just celebrated 25 years of marriage this April 3rd. So
Wow,
25 years. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got you a little bit beat. I remember 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How long you been married?
31. 30.
31. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes,
Congrats.
1992, August 1992.
That's a big
I probably
accomplishment,
got my math wrong, but it doesn't matter. At this point, it's all a blur. They all run together after so many years. When
you get you get some people that are like, so what's the secret to your long marriage? I just want to say there is no secret. It's like, it's just constantly learning to put up with each other.
Yeah, it's I got just one answer for that. It's you just learn to say yes, dear, and I'm sorry. That's all you
Yeah.
need to know.
The best man at my wedding, he said, teach you three phrases. Yes, dear. I love you too, dear. Whatever you say, dear. So you learn those three and say them throughout your life, you're gonna be okay. Like, I hate to say
Exactly.
put up with each other, but it's learning to grow with each other. That's a better way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
learning to grow with
Give
each
each
other.
other just enough space,
Yeah, Shayna
but
and
not
I
too
are
much.
not the same people as we were when we first got married. I mean, we're similar, but I think we're still different compared to
Oh
what we
yeah.
were. Yeah, I mean, I was 19.
Everybody evolves and grows, right?
Yeah, I was 19. She was 18. Yeah, I think we were young and dumb. I usually say I was young, dumb, and horny.
Yeah. Hey, I got married. I turned 20 on August 10th and I was married on August 29th.
Yeah,
So I was barely 20 years old when I got married. So all right, let's talk some business.
business.
So hang on, we got a comment. Wedding vows, wife I do and he better.
Sure. Yeah, that's Dr.
Yeah,
Danism.
Dr. Danism.
Wedding vows, wife, I do, and he better.
Hey, if anybody out there can translate what Dr.
Time for
Dan
that
just said,
chorus.
we'd love
Time
to
for that
know
chorus,
what it
Dr.
means.
Dan. Are you drinking this
Dr.
morning,
Dan's got
Dr.
his own
Dan?
little language going on there.
All right, business.
All right. Let's talk a little business. So you had an elect he says sorry, got up early. So
Sure.
you were an electrician
Yeah,
or
been an
are an
electrician for.
electrician. I don't know if you ever stopped being an
I
electrician.
are an electrician.
You are an electrician.
25
So
years.
you're getting away from that.
Yes.
But I wanted to kind of pick your brain on that
Okay.
transition.
Yeah.
So obviously, as people get older or things in life change, maybe your body just doesn't work the way it is. Maybe you just lose interest,
Yeah.
in your whole thing. And I'm not talking about you specifically. I mean, it's all of us in all of our businesses, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's different things that'll make us make different decisions.
Hmm.
And so what was your thought process on deciding to make a shift from the electrician business into my office help,
Wow. So,
besides it being your wife?
yeah, that's a great question. So, we started my office help in 2018. And being an electrician, the thing that I'm thankful for is that our service detectives, so the electrical business, really kind of help fund my office help getting off the ground. If it wasn't for that, my office help wouldn't be here financially, right? And so that's the good thing about it. What really kind of 25 years crawling in attics and crawl spaces has not been kind to my body. Um, Back in 2020, I had blood clots in both my lungs and I lost part of my left lung. And so there was this transition part. I was out of work for a couple months. I mean, literally couldn't do hardly anything. And in the hospital for like 4 days. I'm very fortunate. I had COVID, and they said because of that, I lost part of my lungs, or got the blood clots in my lungs. So I've had to be really careful in that aspect. But I'm good now. I was all clear last year from all that stuff with the blood clots and that. But and then this year, I still think it was from 25 years of being not good to my body crawling around in attics and crawl spaces. But I got a tear in my L5 disc. And so I was actually shoveling in our courtyard, and we had some drainage issues. So I was shoveling in our courtyard, and I just felt my back kind of do one of these oh crap moments. And like I couldn't hardly do anything, and it just kept getting worse and worse. So I finally went to the doctor, got some MRIs done, and long story short, L5 tear. It's like, okay. So what does that mean? He goes, you got to be really careful. Like the next 4 to 6 months of your life is going to determine the next, 25, 30 years of your life. And he goes, I wouldn't lift anything more than 25 pounds. If you start to lift something and it feels bad, don't lift it. So I've had to be very careful. So it was just kind of a combination of things. But my office help is finally to the point where really financially, I don't have to go out and do electrical work. If I do, it's going doing something for a good client or a friend at this point. I've sold my box truck. I kind of equated it to being Elisha in the Bible. Whenever Elijah came to Elisha, he's like, hey, it's time for you to come follow me. God's saying, I'm giving you the paraphrase version here. You're supposed to come follow me. And so what did Elisha do? He took his oxen wagon and he killed his oxen, and he used the wood from his wagon, and he made a sacrifice, and they had a meal for Elijah and his family that night with the oxen. So he burned his wagon. So that's why I've kind of equated it this year. I burned my wagon, right? I don't have my box truck. I sold off a good portion of my tools. I got a set of tools that, I can use around here when I need to. But getting back to the why is just, I don't know. I think it was time. This is a good year for me to transition. I'm doing a lot of the marketing for my office help. I'll be soon helping out more with the sales, and then I do training on our leadership team. And it's just a good transition time, more than anything. Yeah.
What have you learned from the service end of it that you're applying in in your new role now?
Yeah. So I do coaching and mentoring. I love mentoring electricians, and I'm working on some mentoring for appliance repair. Over 30% of our business is appliance repair companies. So I love working and coaching and mentoring. So that's one aspect. The leadership aspect, doing more, I call them L&Ls, lunch and learns. If you're a Maxwell person, Maxwell certified. So if you know Maxwell leadership stuff, L&Ls or lunch and learns. So each week I do a lunch and learn with our leadership team. And so I'm building into leaders creating leaders, right? What have I learned from? So it's really just taking in that aspect of 25 years of running an electrical business and helping other contractors. Um, I think if anything, the biggest part is I am learning to teach people how not to do things. That prayer, I thank God for the what didn't happen. I think
Right.
I've got a lot of experience of what not to do. And so if I can teach somebody else what not to do and save them some frustration or save them some money, I think I've done a good job on that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They always, I heard recently the school of hard knocks is the hardest school to get into.
True. But
the dumbest people go there.
Yeah.
And I'm an alumni.
Oh boy.
So it's always easier to learn from other people's mistakes rather than your own.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, I don't know, some people just, they're hard headed and they have to go to that school of hard knocks,
Yeah.
and they just don't get it. So I like the fact that you're teaching people how not to do things.
Yeah.
Because of the experience, and that just comes along with life experience. Once you've done something so long,
Oh, yeah.
You naturally learn a lot of things, but sometimes it's easier,
Yeah.
and I love the whole concept of training people up I'm a
Yep.
firm believer in that all day long.
Oh yeah.
And we really put that into the Service Alliance group,
Yeah.
and everything that we do over there, and that's why I love being a part of it, because I love teaching people.
That's cool.
So it's always fun when you can teach someone and watch them actually flourish.
Yeah. And
And
they get that light bulb moment. And it's like, oh,
right,
yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So it's the Maxwell leadership coaching and everything too. It's so helpful.
Yeah.
That's why I signed up and started doing it too. So
Yeah.
I can't wait till I'm certified and can
Yeah.
actually use that.
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
There's a lot of good people in the Maxwell leadership team too. You kind of you haven't went to an IMC yet, the
no,
International Maxwell. Okay, so when you do, let me know which one you go to. If I can make it, I'll try to. But I mean, I've got a few people that are close by me that are Maxwell leadership as well, and they do a lot of mastermind groups locally and the lunch and learn stuff, and it's just continually impacting the leaders around us and even bringing up leaders. That's leaders bringing up leaders. I just love that about Maxwell leadership. But yeah, yeah, it's fun. I've been part of it now 2 years, going on three, and I've met a lot of great people around the country. We've actually visited some people as we're traveling, and yeah, it's a good network. That's for sure.
yeah, it's it seems. I mean, the training is pretty intense.
Yeah,
When you really get into it, I was like, wow, this is like taking a college course.
yeah, yeah,
And on top of doing work, now
yeah.
you're going to school.
Well, I went through getting disc certified, and I really want to finish that out by becoming a disc consultant. We use disc every day in
Yeah,
our business.
that's what
Uh,
I'm going through right now.
yeah, when people are actually go through the application process online, we have a very simplified version of the disc assessment that they take, and so we have a specific process of the CSRs that we hire. Their disc score will kind of tell us a lot if they'll be a good fit. So over the last couple of years, we've learned really what fits a good CSR just by a disc assessment. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So you don't hire any of them high D's.
We do have a few D's. I, yeah, I gotta be careful what I say. Shayna is a high D.
I know.
Andy is a high CD. Um, and Austin is a high D. And so you throw me in there as a high IS. And so that's why I spend a lot of time here in the Mo studios. Yeah, yeah.
But that's by their choice, not yours.
Uh, sure. Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah, they just make you think it's your
I have
choice.
a desk out there, but yeah, no, I stay in here.
But there's no chair.
No, there's a
They
chair.
give you a desk with no chair.
Oh boy. So how long
That's
you
funny.
been doing appliance repair work?
I do not do appliance repair
You
work.
don't? Okay, so tell me
No, I thought you
what
knew
you
this.
do. I did not know that.
I own a web design and marketing agency.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I build everybody's websites.
Sweet. You're the guy that. Okay, now I'm getting it.
So
Yeah,
I'm the technology guy,
sweet. Okay.
marketing guy. So
Well,
that's
there
all I
you go.
do.
We've got an electrician and a web guy on an appliance alliance group podcast. So that
Yeah.
works out pretty awesomely.
Hey,
Do you
you know
get
what? I've had one of my
different
friends. He's a bathtub refinishing guy.
yeah,
So
you get different
it's
perspectives of it.
no matter how you look at it, it's all a service business. And
Yeah.
I've got a background in the service industry too.
Yep.
I also my background was I came from the automotive collision end of things.
Gotcha.
So I was fixing wrecked cars
I
and
don't
pulling
have.
frames.
I don't think I got the book up there on my shelf. So there's a book. His name is Ron. I want to say his last name is Smith. Ron Smith. I met him through um, Service Nation Alliance, Service Roundtable Group. But he wrote a book called HVAC Spells Wealth. And I was standing there talking to him about this book, and I bought a book and he autographed it. And a heating and air guy, knowing that I'm an electrician, walked up. He saw me with this book and he's like, "Why in the world would you buy that book? It has nothing to do with electrical work." And I'm like, "That's where you're wrong." I said, "This book, it doesn't matter if it says HVAC, if it says electrical spells wealth, if it spells plumbing spells wealth, if it says appliance repair spells wealth." I said, "The fundamentals are the same. Everywhere where you see HVAC in this book, you can easily put any other kind of business in it, and it spells
Absolutely.
wealth." So, yeah, that's where I like what you just said on that.
I think that's where a lot of people, and me personally, like you want to talk about the school of hard knocks and learning things the hard way. I was in a mindset years and years ago that no, I'm going to learn everything I can from my industry,
Yeah.
and I was in that box,
Yeah.
and I learned real quick once you step out of that box. And I think that's our problems. We're in our boxes and we don't
Mhm.
realize how much else is out there.
Yeah,
All the
100%.
other great information and great teachers to learn from.
I've been part of many networking groups, Electrician Success International, Nexstar Network, Service Roundtable, Blue Collar Group. I mean, just a ton of different groups. And ESI, I was a founding member of ESI back in 2004. And the thing that at first, they always separated out the electrical from heating, air, and plumbing. And we kind of got, I felt like we were like the redheaded stepchild because you know, we never got to do anything with the plumbers and the heating and air guys. Well, then we left that and went to Nexstar, and Nexstar was all about the heating and air and the plumbing companies, and literally the electricians were the redheaded stepchild. But everybody was together. So I started learning from all these other different trades. Um, and then as we progressed, one of the last ones we were part of, it was just so much feeding off of each other and learning from each other. So I don't
Mhm.
care what trade you're in, there's always something that you can learn from another trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've gone to two big um, appliance repair conventions, in the
Mhm.
past year, and you know what? Most of the stuff didn't pertain to me,
Yeah.
but I still learned.
Yeah.
You can. It's if you're not learning something wherever
Yeah.
you're at, it's your own
Yep.
fault. That's on you.
Yep.
So you have to seek out those conversations. You have to seek out who you can learn from, and the biggest thing is asking the questions.
Yep.
There's no stupid question if you don't know the answer.
Yeah. We went down to San Antonio for ASTI, and we were one of the top speakers there, Shane and I. And I'm the same way as you. I went to several of the other speakers, and I remember coming in and said, I can't remember who I sat down beside. It was one of the guys from the group here, and they just looked at me. It's like, "What are you doing in here?" And I'm same as you. I'm here to learn, and I was taking notes and everything. And I guess I kind of I don't know if I impressed them or I shocked them because as a
Right.
speaker and a trainer, I get stuff like you. I learn from other speakers and trainers. You can learn what not to do or other things to say. I took a whole slew of notes, and I ended up changing up our entire presentation because I wanted to talk about service with significance. That's the theme that started hitting me while I was there was that everybody just wants to have service with significance. So we changed our presentation, and I ended up talking about service with significance instead of what we were talking about. So we'd planned to talk about.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I walked into a session at a PSA convention down
Hmm.
in Orlando, and it was one of the I think it was the last day that we were there, and it was supposed. I'm looking for all the business classes to go to, sessions and stuff, and there was nothing real businessy there. So, but there was this one on warranty, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I'd like to know more about the warranty aspect of things, in the
Yeah.
appliance industry. So I'm going to sit in on that, and um, EJ. had said that he was going to be in there. So I was like, I'll go in and sit with my partner, and at least we can cut up and make comments at the back of the room or something.
Yeah.
Well, I walk in and there's
Peanut
7
gallery.
people in there. There's EJ and like 6 or 7 other people. And EJ's right inside the door, and I walk in and he says, "Oh, good, our teacher's here." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "The instructor didn't show up for this class." I'm like just didn't show. And they're like, "Yeah, just they're a no-show."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty crappy,
Yeah.
just to not show up for your session or whatever
Right.
the case was."
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what, we sat down and EJ's like, "Well, get up there and start teaching us." And I'm like, thinking in my head, I'm like, I don't know anything about like the intricacies of warranty and all that. And I sat there listening to everybody. It ended up becoming like a little bitch session is how it started.
Yeah.
Everybody complaining about things. And there was an actual representative from one of the warranty companies in there.
Yeah.
And he was kind of quiet, and I was like, maybe he's afraid of getting beat up or something, and I started, yeah, he was
Hanging mental
smart.
note. Yeah.
So I sat there and I'm listening and kind of just taking everything in and hearing everything. And then it hit me. I'm like, wow, these guys are like so close. They're in their box, and they're not thinking outside the box. They don't know how to handle these warranty companies
Yeah.
by thinking out of that box. They're in the warranty company's box is what they really
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
And we turned that room into a roundtable discussion group, and I kind of just started leading it and leading some discussion and from an outside perspective looking in
Yeah.
that nobody else had. And we had an amazing discussion.
That's good.
And it was by far the best session that I had been to at PSA with no presenter.
So what did the warranty guy take away from that?
Oh, he actually really jumped in and started like talking about things, because
Yeah.
since I used to be in the collision end, my end was more on the insurance side.
Yeah.
And I also worked for Allstate at one point. So I brought in the insurance, a warranty company is an insurance company. That's all it
Mhm.
is. It's an insurance policy. So I brought that aspect to it. And I said, this is how we dealt with insurance companies.
Yeah.
And a warranty company is no different. They are literally identical. It's just a different name, different
Yeah.
term. And I kind of brought my experience into that. And I
Yeah.
said, it's a policy. It's an insurance policy. Your warranty policy is a policy. It's all about limitations.
Mhm.
So how do you work with the warranty company up to those limitations? And everybody was really griping about being profitable, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, if you have limitations on the policy, that does not mean that just means their coverage has
Yeah.
limits. It doesn't mean that the job or the cost to repair has those limits.
Yeah.
That's just their coverage. So if a job really does take more than what their policy covers, there's no reason that you can't charge that extra to the customer.
True.
It's really no different. We used to do it in the collision end all the time.
Hmm.
The insurance covered to X amount or whatever their coverage was, and
Yeah.
anything over that was out of the customer's pocket. So therefore, I mean, we had this big discussion group about that, and I said, if you looked at things in that way, you'd be very profitable
Yeah.
on most
Putting
any
yourself in a
warranty.
box.
Right, as long as the warranties companies actually pay you,
Yeah.
which I know is a big problem.
So if I hear you correctly, because I'm looking at this from my own standpoint. So I go out to a job that is a warranty call, and let's say their not to exceed is $300, right? And it's going to be a $500. It's how you present it to the customer Or
Everything's about communication with the
yeah,
customer.
Mrs. Jones, this is this repair. The good thing is your warranty is going to cover a good portion of this, and the only part that you're going to be out is only $200. So it's really how you communicate it to the customer. If I hear you correct,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's a different way to look at it.
When we worked with insurance companies, we negotiated certain rates with
Mhm.
them, and of course, they wanted the lower rates, just like the service calls and everything would be
Yeah,
lower rate. So we honored those rates. I'm not saying if you charge 125 when you've already negotiated 80
yeah,
with
yeah,
with the warranty company. So if you're doing it that way, that's a little different. You can charge, but I don't feel that that's right.
yeah,
However, if a warranty company is putting limits on what you can sell a part for, or the amount of hours that it takes,
yeah,
if they say this is a 1 hour job or a 2 hour job, and that's the equivalent, and that's literally knowing your numbers,
hmm
your cost of doing business, right? So if you know that you can't make money in that bubble that they've set you at, then what can you make money at? What's your
yeah,
threshold? You
yeah,
you need to know that and charge accordingly. And that extra has to come out of the customer's pocket because there's
yeah,
no one else to charge it to, right?
yep.
But that's the only way you can sustain a business. Otherwise, you can't do business.
Or we can't
So
do
if the
warranty calls
warranty
all the time.
company, yeah, there's nothing wrong with,
Yeah,
it's all in the way you explain it to the customer, because the
yep.
customer has to know this is an insurance policy.
Yeah,
And I think if you guys out there listening that are doing warranty work, if you would explain that and say, you know what, it's a warranty issue, but a warranty policy is the same as an insurance policy.
hmm,
It has limits, and you start explaining things that way so that they can understand it.
good way
It
to put
comes
it.
across a lot better.
Yeah,
It's more easily received.
yeah. I like it.
Yeah, so we had a really good discussion about all that,
Yeah,
and like I said, it was one of the best sessions I'd been in.
yeah. I like being in rooms like that where great example is this, even though you're not an appliance guy, I'm not an appliance guy, but we have that background, even if that just business, these appliance guys get to hear our viewpoint of it and maybe catch something just like that book. HVAC spells well. So
Right.
does electrical, so does appliance. So I like it. Good way to bring it back around.
Even in my web design business, I've learned so much from this industry, from all
Yep.
these industries, the service industries that I wasn't involved with,
Oh yeah.
and you just grow. You find those little nuggets
Yep.
everywhere.
For us, it's asking questions and listening. That's one of my biggest things that I teach my people I coach. Build value, educate, provide solutions, but also empathizing, asking questions, and listening. That's a huge part. And then just sometimes you just got to shut up, right? Sometimes we have
Right.
too much of this. We got to talk, talk, talk. We don't just shut up, right? Especially uh, when it comes to giving prices. You know, you give a price and you just shut up. One of my things in objection handling is just shutting up. It literally, it's in big bold letters. Shut up. you
Yeah.
know,
So
you
many
give,
people think that you have to sell, sell, sell and explain yourself away,
yeah,
and all you had to do is just say, this is what it is.
yeah,
And you'd be amazed at how many people already get it and they
yeah,
don't need all that other explanation.
yeah.
You can explain yourself out of a job.
Well, like I'll give you a quick one here. In giving a price, right? We're going to do a quick objection handling. You give a price, you just shut up. And if they have it in their head, let's just say they say, "Well, that's really expensive." Was that a question to you? No, that wasn't a question. That was a statement that they just said. Or maybe they're just trying to figure out in their head, how can I afford this? I tell them until you get asked a question there's no need for you to respond, period. Just shut up. Let them
Right.
figure out if they want you to do this. Are you the right person? Is this the right time for this to be done? I mean, there's so many things. So
Kyle's got a question here or a comment. If asking questions isn't so bad, then why do so many older guys in the trades hate it so much? Like, I tried to learn by asking questions and they get
uh,
mad at me.
yeah, Kyle,
Okay.
that's a great question. Let's just go ahead and pass that one.
No, I love this because I've seen it. I've seen it
Yeah,
through the years, right?
I think you have to find the right mentor. That's my,
Absolutely.
you know, I hate to say this. I doubt he ever watches this, but Shayna's dad, he was kind of like that. He was not much of a electrical mentor to me. I mean, he showed me a few things, but for the most part, I learned from on the job, right? I did do an apprenticeship through the IEC. I did do a couple years at a local college, but most of my training was from on the job. So I think for you, Kyle, it's just you try, and try till you find that person that's willing to invest in you and willing to answer your questions. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why a bunch of old guys don't want to answer your questions, but
Now,
hey,
that's not saying that your mentor isn't going to get mad at you for
yeah,
asking the wrong questions. Because, and just to give you some perspective, sometimes when I'm mentoring someone younger or new to a field, okay, I've done this a lot of times.
yeah,
I can get frustrated with that person because I see their potential
hmm
and I know how smart they are. And I get frustrated because they can't figure it out for themselves and they should,
mm,
because I know that they can do that. So it's frustrating, when I see that. Um, so that's kind of giving you a little glimpse into the other side. Um, but that's different when you're with a mentor
yeah,
versus somebody that you're just asking questions to that's not a mentor, and then they're getting mad. Well, that's arrogance on their end. That's absolute arrogance.
100%.
So that's not your fault. That's on them. You can't look at that as, you asked the wrong question, because like I said, there's no wrong question if you don't know the answer.
Yeah, I know with me as well. When I had a lot of apprentices that I trained, I would literally have to tell them from the get go, "Hey, I'm the kind of guy that I just like to do stuff myself. So if there's something going on that you feel that you can do, tell me, hey, let me do this, and you just watch. And after a couple times, I will catch on that you got it, and I'll leave you alone, right? And I'll just come back and I'll watch later. But yeah, I'm one of those that I feel like I can do it better myself. So I would literally tell them from the get go, if you can do this, let me know. And so, what does Dan say here?
He said some do, some don't. Sometimes it depends on the question or how many times it's asked. And
Yep,
that's very true.
yep,
Some people, like, you gotta know your audience, and I guess your venue for asking the questions.
mhm.
If you're in a Facebook group,
Oh,
it's so much easier to get a shitty response
I
and
tell
a
you,
rude response, no matter
yeah.
who it is.
I'm sure it's this
But
way in the appliance world, but the electricians can be so brutal. You
it's
get some of these guys that'll
everywhere,
post
dude.
a
It
picture.
doesn't. It's in my industry. You know,
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
yeah, they'll post them and they'll just get so much flack, and it's like that. Actually, I would hire you based on this picture because that's pretty darn good.
Right.
Oh well,
So, all right. Well, we're 45 minutes in. Let's wrap it up.
sounds good.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah,
Um, Little business, real quick. Regional meetup, July 22nd in Richmond, Virginia. We're going
cool.
to have a 1-day training, and we'll have details out real soon, probably maybe by next week, for that. And it'll be pretty good training. So it'll be our first regional meetup. So we're going to have a full day of training classes and sessions. We're working out all the details on that and getting that shored up right now. So we hope to see you there. There's going to be limited seating. So we are going to have a very limited space available, and we can only take so many people. So once we have that information out, if you're interested, it's going to be something that you're going to want to jump on. So
It's on my schedule.
And yeah, and if let me get another one up here. If you're interested in the all access plan at Service Alliance Group, use Springtime 2023 coupon code. That will get you $100 off of the membership for a whole year.
Man, so I wish I had that when I signed up.
Yeah, we would have charged you double anyway. You
yes,
asked too
I
many
am a member of the Electrical Alliance Group as well.
Of the Electrical Alliance Group, yeah.
Yep.
The Electrician Alliance Group.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, everybody have a wonderful day. Jason, I want to thank you for being on. Good conversation. Mike. I always love having you on.
Thanks.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Have a good week.
You too.